Welcome back to the R&D podcast. My name's Dalton. Today we got a special one for you. Week 14 breakdown, top 25 review. It is rivalry week. And joining us today, we got a special guest. He goes by the name of Pork. Pork.
Some could call it a special guest.
Oh my. Pork with the entrance live in the flesh. Here we go.
What you talking about?
Let's go and get this jumped off, Porkington. Let's see what we got here. Arizona 25, Tulane 24, Georgia Tech 23. Georgia Tech plays Georgia this week, which we'll talk about later on the podcast. Really good matchup there in Atlanta, Georgia. Arizona State, Tennessee, 3-loss Tennessee sitting at 19. Virginia plays Virginia Tech this week, sitting at 18. USC, Texas versus Texas A&M. Going to be one of the better matchups of the week as well. Michigan, the biggest mover of the whole college football playoff rankings. They are now at 15. Vanderbilt takes on Tennessee this week in Knoxville. Going to be a big one. Diego Pavia, will he be top of a lot of people's Heisman boards at the end of this week? Who knows? Miami, BYU, Carson Beck. He's been on a little bit better of a run here recently after having losing 2 out of 3 earlier on in the season. Bama sitting at 10 after the loss to Oklahoma, but you got Notre Dame right in front of them. And this is kind of where we've had our problems so far with the playoff committee is Alabama being behind Notre Dame at 9 and 10. Alabama having 4 ranked top 25 wins compared to Notre Dame's 1? And that was Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
They had ASU too. Arizona State and Pitt were on their we're ranked whenever they beat them.
What do you think about this, Pork? What do you think about Bama being behind Notre Dame? Do you think maybe it should have been 8 Oklahoma, 9 Bama, 10 Notre Dame?
Honestly, I see the issue with it based off of Notre Dame's wins could be the problem there. But then you go and look at Notre Dame's losses. They have the 2 better losses over Alabama. I mean, Bama lost to obviously Oklahoma, who is just in front of them, but they also lost to a Florida State team who is not going to have a chance to be bowl eligible anymore. They're 4-8 or 4-7.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's literally the only reason Bama is where they are is because of Florida State.
Yeah, the Florida State loss at the beginning of the year hurts. I think also one of the biggest reasons that Bama is right there is because of the late in the year loss. Like, a loss later in the year is way worse than a loss early. And even though Alabama coming off 4 ranked wins and then taking a loss to Oklahoma at home, it's just the nature of the loss, how sloppy and ugly it was not, necessarily good by any means. It's different if Alabama played their best game and got beat and Oklahoma's just their team. But Alabama left a lot of meat on the bones, and they haven't shown improved. Like, they peaked in the middle of the year and have not kind of gotten over that hump and continue to get better. They just remain the same. Through a lot of the year, you haven't seen the run game improve. And a lot of people are saying Notre Dame's getting to be one of the better overall all-around teams in the country. Oklahoma, Brent Venables at 8, Ole Miss at 7, with what Lane Kiffin's going through with the coaching, drama and the players having to deal with that in the locker room. Really impressive to see him. Oregon jumps to 6 over Ole Miss, which was interesting to me.
I think the only reason they gave them that, I think they mentioned it on the show as well, that they only jumped because I think the committee's been waiting on Oregon to beat somebody. And they finally beat USC, which obviously was that one of their few. If they even have any other ranked wins other than USC?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, well, that was their rank win of the season. I could see why they did. Because, with all the stuff going on around Ole Miss, I could see why they're like, well, Ole Miss should probably be in a tight spot compared to Oregon.
Yeah. I see it. I see it. Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State this weekend, which could be a little bit of a sleeper game. This Mississippi State team's played with a lot of teams that they should not have played with, so it'll be interesting.
Except for Georgia.
Yeah, except for Georgia. But first half against Georgia, they looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah, no doubt. Texas Tech at 5. They take on West Virginia this week. Should be a good win for them. Texas Tech has a good all-around football team. They showcased that against BYU, so I have no problem with them being where they're at. And I continue to see them to improve and get better and make a pretty deep run this year. Georgia at 4. Georgia has continued to get better throughout the whole year. I think that Georgia overall is especially on the offensive side of the ball, is starting to find their groove. And I think them against Georgia Tech this weekend, they'll probably showcase that a little bit more than what they have in the previous weeks. A&M at 3 takes on Texas this week. Indiana 2, and Ohio State at 1. What is there anything you see in this top 5?
No, I think the only mover in the top 4 could have been Georgia, but the
Mm.
loss to Bama is what's keeping them outside of the top 3 because A&M, the sloppy game against South Carolina is hurting them, I feel like, inside the top 3. Had they
Yeah.
came in and destroyed South Carolina like everybody thought, you probably see Texas A&M coming into this week at number 2
Yeah.
rather said than be at 3 because of the sloppy game they had a few weeks back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a reason to bump anything around up that high. I mean, you can't punish any teams for doing well.
No.
I wonder how many times RJ's going to comment about Auburn in this podcast. We'll get to that game here in a little while, and that way we can have this debate. Stop rage baiting. Alex West said thoughts on Bama over Notre Dame, meaning Bama might get left out.
So I think I don't
Notre Dame.
think Bama gets left out if they beat Auburn. I just don't see it. The only way it happens, Bama has to drop, or people in front of them have got to lose. Notre Dame has to lose. Georgia will have to lose, and even then, Georgia still might not get jumped out, given where Georgia Tech is. You still probably have Georgia sitting around that 9 or 10 spot.
Well, I think the positioning for Bama behind Notre Dame is kind of like what he was really wanting us to touch on, and the fact of that Bama has the 4 ranked wins over Notre Dame, and the fact that Notre Dame's lost 2 close games, Miami, Texas A&M. What I just keep seeing the Ashton Daniels jersey comment.
I just
That's
saw
really
it.
messing me
The
up.
bad thing is I saw the whole Scam Newton jersey thing this morning, and it cracked me up. So that's
Just-
just it's just tickling me. I don't know why it is.
But we'll get back on track though. Like Notre Dame being ahead of Bama, I see why they're there, but I don't necessarily agree with it, and I feel like that's okay. I think that trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can. I think if Alabama and Notre Dame match up on a neutral field, I think Bama is the favorite currently. And so how is that not enough to necessarily agree and push them up? Like I think that Alabama is the better overall team than Notre Dame at the current moment. I think they had the most battle scars. I think they had the most experience.
Mhm.
Let's see. Well, here's my scenario. BYU wins the Big 12 auto bid, so that would drop Bama to 11. The number 11 team is getting left out this year if Bama lost to A&M. Yeah, there is a huge possibility that, which you hate to say
Mhm.
this, that Bama makes it the SEC championship, and a loss in the SEC championship holds them out of the college football playoffs because of what else happens. And what does that mean for conference championships going forward? Because is it worth playing in those conference championships if you're, you know, a team that's only kind of the 8 to 9 to 10 range that could drop out with a loss possibly? I mean, what is there in for teams in playing in conference championships?
It's like last year with SMU. The whole reason they're just like, well, we got to protect SMU. They didn't deserve to drop out because it's not their fault they played good enough to make the conference championship. But also at the same time, I mean, you have the guys that ought to win in. That's what kicked them out last year. Who was it? ASU that kicked them out last year,
I want to say
or
it was
was it
Boise
Clemson
State.
that won in?
It was Clemson that went in, but Boise State was the 12th bid.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Clemson. There you go.
it was Clemson. They got the auto bid because they won the ACC championship after they were like 9-3 when they went into it, 10-2 or something, or 9-3 or something like that. Got made
I
it
think they
in.
lost like all their
Won.
non-conference games and then just like balled out during their conference games. I'm pretty sure.
But
K. Klubnik beat up a bunch of farmers and milkmen, and then played a bunch against SEC guys and forgot how to play football. So
I agree with the fact that Alex says you can't give out auto bids for winning, meaning the G5 and the ACC. I agree with that because I think it should be the top 12 best teams in the country. And given a G5 bid is one thing, like if they continue to dominate their competition week in, week out, but just throwing in the G5 team just because you feel like they need to be there, I don't necessarily agree with. I want to see the top 12 teams in the country play no matter what. Like I said, if Alabama or whoever's in the one spot out is on a neutral field with said team and they are, Vegas has them winning the game or they are a better team overall, like eye test, statistic wise, why are they not in the playoffs? Why are we not giving the teams that are the best all around calibrated to win a championship the opportunity to?
you're eventually going to see a play-in game. As much as I hate to bring up that word, a play-in, but you'll have your G5 team will play against probably the number 12 or a team first team out. They'll end up playing the G5 team to see who gets in eventually. because that'll
Mm.
eventually cause some problems. I mean, what Tulane's got the bid right now for the G5 team?
What'd you say?
Does Tulane have the bid for the G5 teams right now?
Yes.
A team that's going to be without a coach come Sunday is Tulane.
What you think? What you think about what you think about John Summerall and this Auburn job kind of heating up?
Well, I'm just going to tell you now. A bunch of Auburn guys, I think it's like 20 something plus guys now in the past 2 days have followed John Pork on Instagram and uh, Twitter. So I mean, they're talking about. What are you looking at me crazy for?
John who?
Yeah, but look. So what happened is, I can't remember if it's just like reports on the streets, like word on the street, or if it's like actually been said by the AD or something like that. But they're talking about post Iron Bowl, like Sunday morning around lunch, maybe that you could see the hire come in that Auburn has hired somebody.
Yeah. Do you think there's only 2 candidates in this job right now? Do you think it's only Durkin and
Yeah,
Summerall?
I
Okay.
think that's the only two that Auburn should be pursuing at this point. Because Kiffin, I would I don't know if you. I mean, Kiffin would be great to have, yes, but I just don't know if it'd be worth all the trouble and all the money to get him and pray that he doesn't do what he's doing to Ole Miss now.
I don't think you could get Kiffin, even if you wanted to, if you're
That's
Auburn.
that's a bunch of money that you'd have to shell out. And his daughter's already said basically that she likes Ole Miss better than Auburn, so
Yeah.
she's gonna go be with her boyfriend in LSU. I feel it now.
So the real question is, why is South Alabama not in the playoffs this year?
They lost to Troy. That's why they're
Yeah.
not. You know what
All
I
right.
mean?
Let's get moved into this rivalry week. Playoffs, whatever. We'll get moved in this rivalry week because we know that stuff can shake up in this week, right? First off, we'll start with this one, which is probably going to be one of my favorite games to watch this weekend. Is Texas A&M and Texas play? Marcel Reed, will he have to have the same performance that he had to have against South Carolina in the second half to be able to beat this Texas team? And Texas opening up, or I want to say A&M's opening up as a 2.5-point favorite in Austin. What are you thinking about this game, Port?
I'm just gonna. I don't. The real question isn't about Marcel Reed. I think it's more about Arch and what he's going to be able to do against Texas A&M's defense.
Mm.
Because this is going to be one of the better defenses he's faced and probably will face for the rest of the season. They've got a great front seven and they got a fairly decent secondary. When they want to be, that
Mm.
is. But I think Marcel Reed will be fine against Texas's defense. You just got to worry about the pass rush getting to him and pressure getting to him. If he can make the right read and be able to like sense the pressure coming and try to make another move afterwards, I think he'll be fine.
I think you see Arch Manning in this game. He can play well, but Mike Elko is the king of preparing. I mean, he has been doing really well this year, being able to prepare for the offenses. I think Steve Sarkisian is a really great coordinator. He's a really great offensive mind, but I really like Elko in this matchup. I really like this Texas A&M team overall, and the fact that they're so well rounded. And they're coming back against South Carolina. You saw Hart. South Carolina, let's not get it twisted. They have a ton of NFL talent on that roster. They really have 3 main guys that are extremely Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor, and Lenore Sellers that will be high draft picks here in the future. Lenore Sellers, who knows, but especially Nick Harbor and Dylan Stewart, especially. But
Dude, he's going to be a big portal watch right there. If he gets thrown enough money at him and he goes to like an Ohio State, he is going to be a monster.
yeah, he's really good. He's a really fun player to watch play football. But Texas A&M, they overcome South Carolina. They go into this week, going to Austin. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Will Texas's run game finally show up at some point? What type of plays is Texas A&M going to be able to keep the flats protected and keep Texas from being able to break off these big screen plays, these big RPO bubble screens in the flats? Will they be able to defend that? Will they be able to make tackles out there in the secondary and be able to really get receivers on the ground with just one man out there one-on-one? It's going to be an interesting game. I think Marcel Reed and this Texas A&M offense, this matchup against their Texas defense is really a pretty equal one. I feel like Texas defense has been pretty impressive still this year, even with a lack of offensive struggle for Texas. And I think that this Texas defensive line is going to be able to do pretty well against A&M and the fact of getting pressure on Reed. But the thing about Marcel Reed is the fact that he can use his legs to create plays. And I think overall, you'll see A&M walk out of this game and be kind of battle tested and be ready to go to the SEC championship, probably facing Bama. At least I hope they're facing Bama. And that'll be a good game in itself. Hopefully, it doesn't hold Bama out of the playoffs. I will go ahead and give my score prediction, Port.
Go ahead.
And I sat here and I was kind of thinking about it, weighing it back and forth, and like what's going to go into this game? Is it going to be one of those games that you're going to see a defensive brawl, and then somebody at the end of the game is going to have that one little quarter that they score 14 in and it really puts them ahead? What is it going to be? Is it going to be a high scoring? Is Arch Manning going to show up in some way? It's a rivalry game. It could be anything. But what I think it's going to be personally is a 31-24 win for Texas A&M. The cover, they get it done on the road. Really impressive win for Marcel Reed.
I'm not too far off point wise with you at least. I think A&M does cover, and I think they barely cover. I just think Texas with the drops they've been having, they're very terrible drops from these receivers, and the lack of run game is going to make Arch Manning a sitting duck in the bag. But also at the same time, Texas is going to score just because they're Texas. They've always find a way to crawl into a game and try to stay close. But with that being said, I still think A&M is one of the most complete teams in the country, and I'm going to take them 24-21. Give me the Aggies.
24-21 A&M in Austin. I don't mind that score prediction at all.
Hey, and what happened last time? I talked about a team going away on the road and winning by 2. That's all me. Sorry.
Let's move on to the next game. 11 a.m. kickoff in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ohio State Buckeyes going and take on the Wolverines after a little bit of a couple of years of rough bumps for Ryan Day. Will he get socked in the mouth again over there in Ann Arbor? Bryce Underwood coming off a pretty impressive performance the last week. What are you thinking in this game? Or I mean, what?
I think Underwood looks really good, and I think this is going to be Ohio State's biggest test until championship week. And Michigan's always had Ohio State's number, at least for the past 3-4 years, maybe. It's I don't know. Ohio State just haven't been tested yet. I just don't see it. I just don't see the big test they've had this year. But with that being said, Julian Sainz completed 80% of his passes, so it's going to be hard to take that away from him.
Yeah, I think this offensive line for Ohio State continues to improve every week. I think Carnell Tate being out, I think, is just about as much of an impact as Justice Haynes being out for the season. I think Ohio State up front is the difference in this game on both sides of the ball. I think Michigan's a really talented team, and they have a lot, and they have a lot of firepower that will continue to progress as their careers go on. But as of right now, I don't think they're good enough to match up roster-wise with Ohio State. I think Julian Sainz playing really good ball, but this is going to be his big test since the Texas game at the beginning of the year to see kind of really what he's made of and if he's going to be able to continue to play with the level that he's been playing at with the high completion percentage, the touchdowns, the not really turn the ball over very much. We'll see how it looks. In Ann Arbor, the spread right now, the spread's at, I want to say 10 or 9.5. Let me pull it back up. 10. It's at 9.5 for Ohio State. I got Ohio State which is crazy, but I'm going to take Ohio State to cover. I think Ohio State's going to win by 2 scores in this game. I think they are a really good team. I think Ryan Day is going to coach them up, and up front's going to be the difference. And you're going to see Julian Sainz kind of come out of his shell and kind of really solidify himself in that Heisman race.
I can see that. I can understand where that is because, Julian Sainz, he needs a Heisman moment, and this is going to be the biggest game of his career to this point, and this would be the game to really show out if you are going to be truly the Heisman this season. And against a pretty good Michigan defense. Michigan's always had a pretty good defense, good run game, good run defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the secondary has always been a little bit wishy-washy. And given Ohio State's weapons, I could see Ohio State pulling away pretty quick on Michigan.
What's your score prediction for this one, Mr. Port?
God, man, just because it'd be fun to watch them jump Bama, I want to take Michigan. But I can't. I'm gonna go 35-17. I'm gonna take the Buckeyes there. They're gonna cover big time.
Yeah, I got 28-14. The Buckeyes. I think that's going to be a good one for them to continue to go on to the playoffs. Let's get to the game. RJ just went ahead and
Vandy,
commented.
Tennessee. You're right. Vandy, Tennessee.
The Iron Bowl, 6:30, Jordan-Hare Stadium, Saturday night. Port. This is where
The
legends are made,
voodoo
buddy.
has been voodooing, buddy.
This is where legends are made. Interim head coach DJ Durkin looks to get his Tigers ready to play this Alabama Crimson Tide. Kalen DeBoer coming off a rough week or a good week against Eastern Illinois, but previous week against Oklahoma. How will Alabama be able to correct themselves and be able to steer straight forward and get past this Auburn team to eventually hope to make it the SEC championship? Well, you can't think like that. Alabama's going to go in here and they got to win this game. They got to play, stay present in the moment. Don't think ahead, because if you think ahead, Auburn will win this game. They have a capability of being able to upset people that overlook them. With that being said, Auburn's roster talent is not the question. They have the talent. It's been a coaching issue all year, you feel, and it's been a lack in the quarterback room. But then Ashton Daniels miraculously out of nowhere turns into Tim Cheese. He turns into that guy.
Come on, you know what I'm talking. I know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, Tim Cheese was a dog, dude. I mean, he was him. He really was. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I'm a big Tim Cheese supporter here.
Man, I haven't seen somebody play ball like that in a while. But Ashton Daniels absolutely turns it on out of nowhere against Vandy, and just Auburn's defense was struggling to be able to keep them really ahead of Vandy. It's kind of been the flip of a script, right? You got DJ Durkin, has not given up more than 24 points all year, and then you go in the Vandy game, he gives up 45. So
Yeah.
what's the answer for Auburn in this game, Pork? I'll let you start with Auburn, and I'll finish with Bama, and then we'll compare notes and see what we got to say. But what's the guide to victory for Auburn here against this Bama team?
I think DJ Durkin understands that the defense has underperformed these past two games, and going into this week, he has heavily preached defense, and I'm sure he is going to be not taking a step back from the head coaching side. Obviously, he's still going to be doing his duties as the head coach, but he's going to step back and help a little more on defense, I feel, which is needed. I mean, this defense is one of the better skilled defenses we've had in previous years, and I mean, if this defense can just play with an ounce of their talent, I just feel like it'll be a long day for Ty Simpson. But the main thing is, though, the way he has to get to it and get around Bama's offense is – what is he saying? Oh, good God.
Why aren't we talking about FCS schools right now?
Tulane better. All right,
Why
look.
are we discussing FCS schools right now? Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Durkin, I think he just needs to let Derek Nix take care of the offense because, I mean, the two games he's been the full-blown offensive coordinator, been the sole play caller. He scored 100 points in two games. Given he scored 60-odd amount of them against Mercer, but he did end up scoring, what was it, 38 against Vandy or something like that? Turtle?
I'm sorry. I was reading the RJ's comment. Restate that. I'm sorry.
I think that he needs to let Derek Nix just solely take care of the offense and not worry about the offense at all, personnel-wise, and let him let Derek Nix kind of control it. Because the two games he has been the sole play caller, he scored 100 and something points, given 60 of them were against Mercer.
What about that Kentucky game? Do you think that was a Hugh Freeze thing with Ashton Daniels?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I hate to say it like this. It's going to sound really Auburn fanish. But I think everyone knew Hugh was out. So they're just like, you know what? Let's get him going for real. Let's go ahead and get this game rolling. I don't want to say they threw it because obviously that's a terrible thing to do at home against Kentucky of all teams.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the way the plays were getting called. It was just wrong yardages. We weren't getting into good spots on second and long. We were throwing on 2nd and 10 instead of trying to get 3 or 4 yards and make it 3rd and manageable. And I mean, he looked fine against Vandy, though. I mean, he came in and really showed poise in the pocket, and he looked very comfortable.
I think Ashton Daniels' improvement has been very eye-catching over the past 2 weeks, right? I think against Mercer, he showed that he had continued to sustain his improvement. With Mercer, I mean, they're FCS school, but it's one thing to go out there and just absolutely throw the can away, right? Against Vanderbilt, you saw when after Hugh Freeze is out, Derek Nix is the sole guy. He played very well. You saw the defense struggle, like I was saying, but Ashton Daniels as a whole has been playing pretty well. We'll see how he does against Bama. He gets his first actual, I feel like top tier defense he's played. And I'm sorry, not against Eastern Illinois. I mean, not against Mercer.
Mercer,
I'm sorry.
Kentucky.
I meant Kentucky because he played well. He played well in the third quarter and on against Kentucky. Just didn't really have the opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
Or was it Arkansas? Was it Arkansas?
Arkansas. He won the game against Arkansas.
It was Arkansas that he came in and played well. So Kentucky was kind of
he came in and led the comeback to win the Arkansas game, and then Kentucky was his first career start with Auburn.
The defense was a huge part about that comeback in Arkansas, but he still played well. He managed the ball well, probably better than what Jackson Arnold would have done, stayed on the field, etc.
Yep.
But Ashton Daniels, is he the best guy in the quarterback room for Auburn? It seems to be at the moment. Is this Alabama defense going to be the best defense he's seen so far? Yes. I just said defense won the Arkansas game. I'm pretty sure I just said that.
Yeah, you did. You just said that. Don't worry about it.
I was making sure. But either way, Alabama's going to be the best defense Ashton Daniels has seen all year. He did not have the greatest track record at Stanford as far as keeping the ball to himself and not to ever get given the defense. What in your mind is going to say that in this game, right? Say that Ashton Daniels doesn't throw picks and he holds on the ball. Is that possible for him in this game? Is Alabama's defense going to be a little too much for him? What are you thinking as far as defense, offensive wise for Auburn in this game?
During the Vandy game, a lot of unblocked guys got into the backfield on him, and he was able to evade them and get around them and try to get to a different spot and make another play, or just take the ball and go up the middle with it as well and realize the pressure is coming. With that being said, Alabama's their defensive line is very good. And if you are Derek Nix and you are calling this game, you need to keep Bama's defensive line honest and be ready to try to stop the run as well as pass rush. And you've also got to watch that Auburn is they're not afraid to throw a check down or throw out of the backfield. You haven't seen much thrown out of the backfield this season, but this will be the game where Auburn will start trying crazy stuff like always to win the game. They're not afraid to do something different to win.
I think like Auburn's offensive line has not been what it was supposed to be at the beginning of the year, right? Preseason, we thought their offensive line was going to be definitely one of the top 5, top 6 offensive lines in the SEC. They're going to be right there in between that mid-tier to pretty good in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have not been that. They have not been that. Connor Lew gets hurt, etc. So what's that run game for Auburn going to look like? That's what's going to say a lot to me. And if Auburn can still, I don't want to say hang around, but be, keep it convincingly
be
to where they can win
competitive,
this game. Yeah. And what's that run game going to be like? What's Jeremiah Cobb going to look like? Because Cam Coleman's great, but if you can't run the ball, Alabama, they have players maybe that can't make the play every time, but they can make them enough to where we can win the game.
So Jeremiah Cobb also is not just a ground threat. He is also a threat blocking-wise in the backfield. He is not afraid to chip a linebacker coming up one of the center gaps, or to try to knock a defensive lineman over who's trying to get around one of the tackles. And with that being said, though, it is going to be hard to get Jeremiah Cobb started if the pass game is not there, which Bama has shown they have great safeties, and their corners are pretty decent. The issue mainly is with the offensive line is that the Connor Lew injury does suck. The guy they have put in there, though, at center has been playing pretty good. He's big. He's a huge guy. I don't know if you've seen him. He is enormous.
Yeah.
But he's shown that he's pretty good. I just don't know how he moves. That's the one thing. I haven't seen how well he can move and, hit the first guy and then go up and try to hit the second level and get the block there. You haven't seen much of it the past 2 games because Auburn has just been air the ball out, apparently. It's hard to call. This game's always so hard to call.
I think with Auburn, it's going to be disguising as far as up front for Auburn. It's going to be disguising that zone read, keeping the defense honest with Ashton Daniels because Alabama has a tendency to get out of their gap soundness and give up gashes. And I think you're going to see a lot of zone reads, a lot of outside zones, a lot of maybe not necessarily in between the tackles running for Auburn. Really make this Alabama secondary really make these safeties play downhill and play correctly, because you've seen a lot of times Bray Hubbard's been excellent this year. Don't get me wrong, but you've seen a lot of times where he's overran gaps, gave up big gashes. You've seen where our defensive backs have gave up gaps. You've seen where our linemen have gotten stuffed in the same hole and not been able to get out and get contained. So what is Alabama's run fit's going to look like, and then what is Auburn going to do to take advantage of that? That's going to be what's curious to me in this game, as far as how well Auburn is able to continue to stay in this game. I'm really curious to see how Auburn's run game, because while I do think that they will be able to run the ball, especially early in the game, how will they continue to be able to run the ball? Will they be able to run the ball for 4 quarters? And how do they sustain that? I'm not saying that they won't get big plays in the run game, but I am saying, how many times are you going to put Ashton Daniels in a 3rd and 6 and a 3rd and 7?
Mm-hmm.
How many times are you going to try to run the ball twice and not be able to, maybe you get 10 plays on the first one, you get a first down. Well, then you run the ball 2 more times and you put yourself on a 3rd and 6 because it was bottled up. Is Ashton Daniels going to be able to get you out that 3rd and medium, 3rd and long? That's what I'm not confident in.
He's shown that he's been able to. I mean, against Arkansas, small sample size against Arkansas. Like, you can't really take a bunch from that game. But the way he looked very comfortable coming into there with the deficit, given Auburn's defense did win on that game in the second half, he still did have to come in and do it like our game managing quarterback has to do. And then Kentucky was kind of just everything looked bad except for Auburn's defense. I mean, you lose 10-3 against Kentucky at home. Defense scores any kind of touchdown. I mean, the offense scores any kind of touchdown, and it's a tie ball game. But Vanderbilt is where I really think Ashton Daniels showed that he can read a defense, get through his progressions quick enough, and then try to sense where the pocket's going. And now that we actually have our receivers running stuff other than just go routes, we're seeing a lot more inside routes, going outside the numbers and trying to catch a ball on the sideline. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, with that, on that side of it with the pass wise. But I think you'll see tons and tons and tons of motion from Auburn. Like, you'll see, because we come out in a 5 wide set with Jeremiah Cobb out wide, and you'll probably see him motion off into the backfield and get some kind of play action out of it, or sit there and just take the zone read if it's open. It's just Auburn's going to try to run the freakiest offense possible, for lack of better words.
They're really going to try to throw something at Kane, right? Make him adjust, make him come out of his shell, because Alabama's defense has improved week on, week out. Week in, week out, they've gotten better throughout the whole year. The thing with me is, let's go to Alabama on the offensive side of the ball. You can't run the ball. Auburn's front seven's good. Auburn's secondary isn't as good as their front 7. Not saying they're bad, but the strong part of Auburn's defense is in that front 7 with Falk, Atkins, Woodyard, etc. Right? So can Alabama attack the secondary? Can you keep Todd Simpson protected long enough for him to be able to get the ball out? Can the running backs show up in the passing or in the blocking game? Can the running backs actually pick up a blitz? Can we communicate up front? And can we win one-on-ones? You got to give Todd Simpson time. Now, Todd, what version of Todd are we going to see? Are we going to see the version of Todd that has been good, but not what he once was earlier in the season, you feel like? Or is he going to start kind of like, okay, it's getting close to playoffs. Hey, we're in the Iron Bowl. Let's pick it up. What are we going to see? I think you're going to see a really good game plan called from DeBoer. The thing, if you're Alabama, is if you get the ball first, say Auburn was the tallest, they elect the, receive second half. They give you the ball first. You can't go 3 and out. Alabama's got to find a way to sustain drives and stay on the field and wear down Auburn's defense. So whenever you get into the fourth quarter, you haven't had, several 3 and outs and gave Auburn the chance to have their defense rested. RJ says 3 turnovers from Alabama's offense. And here's the thing about this is I feel like Auburn's offense is going to have 2. I feel like Ashton Daniels isn't going to be able to take care of the ball. I do feel like you'll get a strip sack at some point from Xavier Atkins in this game. I do feel like you may have a mistake from a fumble, etc. But I really think Auburn's offense and the turnovers on that category is going to be a factor in this game as well, because Ashton Daniels has been good, but it's a matter of time before he makes a mistake. It's a matter of time before the walls come like crumbling down. And where does he go whenever he gets adversity? How will he do and whenever he's facing a defense? Because let's be honest, Alabama's pass rush is 10 times better than Vandy's. I feel pretty confident saying that. Quay Russol's back this week or last week. He's going to be able to play this week. Deontay Pierre has been good. So what is that going to look like? Auburn barely turns the ball over because they're never on the field. Beginning of the season, they were never on the field. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Offense is awful. You had a good offense against Vanderbilt, but really, other than that, haven't been very great. So you could say,
so Kentucky-wise would be the only game you could kind of see where Ashton Daniels goes headspace, like a headspace level on it. Even though you still did have the worst coach in the country coaching at that point in time. He had 2 picks against Kentucky, I think. He never looked truly like rattled. He looked more confused with what was going on. And that's the thing you got to worry about is someone leading your team having a level of confusion that he had against Kentucky. And this is a team that is 10 times Kentucky. And they've got a better secondary than what we saw against Vandy and a better front seven than we have against Vandy.
You know, Ashton Daniels, while Auburn has not, still Oklahoma at 11 sacks, not 1 sack fumble. But here's the thing, brother. You had 11 sacks. That's not a good statistic no matter how you twist it. So you had 11 sacks. Great. Jackson Arnold covered up the ball whenever he was getting sacked. But you probably didn't have some turnovers because he just took the sack and started throwing the football and throwing it into windows. Jackson Arnold at the beginning of the year was being accused of not throwing into windows and not throwing the ball confidently to save from having picks because he had picks at Oklahoma and that was his issue. What I'm saying is Auburn doesn't have as many turnovers because they haven't been aggressive with the football on offense all year due to the fact that they have not been confident in their scheme. Well, now they're confident in their scheme.
They look extremely confident, which is what you would have to worry if you're Kane Womack here is that you've got a Auburn team with more talent than they know what to do with, coming in as confident as any Auburn team has ever came into the Iron Bowl.
Because I'm sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's what I was trying to say. I was just trying to say.
Well, my point is when is Ashton Daniels going to show flaws, right? When is this Auburn offense going to show flaws? Because they look good and they haven't been as aggressive with the football all year. And now they're starting to get a little confident. Now they're starting to kind of find their mojo. But it's been against lesser defenses than what they're facing to face. So do they show flaws here? Ashton Daniels has been turnover prone his whole career. I mean, if you want stats, let's go back to 2023. 11-8, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Let's go back to last year. 10-12, more interceptions than you had touchdowns. So when is this inconsistency going to show for Ashton Daniels over the air? And when is Alabama going to be able to get pressure on him in this game to make him make mistakes? Even if it maybe is turnovers, but it's forcing him to
take sacks. Incompletions or making him to go down with the ball, yeah.
Yes, and that's all. That I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but that's my case scenario for this game. That's what I could see happening, and I think that.
But with that being said, you've got to hope as Bama's defense you don't overcommit to trying to make him go down in the backfield because he is one that can make a play in the backfield, and he has good enough legs to make a big play on the ground. He has shown his ability to improvise is above average, in my opinion. He's a very above average improviser in the backfield with an average arm. And, I mean, that's all you really need with the receivers Auburn has right now. They've got some of the best receivers in the nation.
Cam Coleman.
And in my opinion, the best receiver in the nation, Cam Coleman. All you Jeremiah Smith lovers, y'all can kiss it. I don't care.
I think at the end of the day, Cam Coleman is going to be a sole factor of why Auburn is still in this game in the fourth quarter. Maybe not in this game, but still knocking around at winning the game, right? Saying in this game is like they should get blown out. I don't think Auburn's going to get blown out, especially not.
Well, apparently, if you win by 14, you're getting blown out.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Cam Coleman's going to be the reason that Auburn is in contention to win this game in the fourth quarter solely because I think that kid is an alien. He makes plays. If you give Cam Coleman a one-on-one ball, he's probably going to win it. It's really not even a 50-50 ball. It's an 80-20 ball, and 80's in the favor of Cam Coleman. I think sacks for Auburn in this game are going to be a big issue. And I'm also curious to see how Alabama's penalties look, because we have been pretty decent as far as penalty yards per game, penalties per game. We've actually been less penalized than what we've been in the past 5 years of college football at Alabama. So is that going to continue in Jordan Hare Stadium? Who knows? I hope so. Because if
They
not,
just haven't. I don't know, because they haven't played against a stadium that gets that loud like Jordan Hare will.
Sanford
Jordan Hare will
Stadium.
compete with. I don't think they get as loud as those rowdy Auburn kids do. I'm telling you, a 6:30 kickoff in Jordan Hare. Every frat boy in there is going to be gone by 5. They are going to be yelling as loud as they can.
See, this is my thing with RJ, right?
I've got to
Bama's
pull it
offense
up.
hasn't been rolling at all. Bama has 7 turnovers in the past 4 games. If Auburn's offense can play ball, Auburn will dominate Alabama by 2 possessions. Dominate.
That's a term.
See, RJ's takes are very strong, right? They are very strong in the fact of saying dominate. You notice how every time I've been talking about this Alabama-Auburn game, I have not said Alabama will dominate Auburn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice how I have not said that? Because I don't feel like there's a domination and an Iron Bowl unless it was, 2023?
Yeah, when Robbie Ashford went to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. That's the only time
I was there for that, by the way.
But Bama's offense hasn't been rolling. Alabama has 7 turnovers in the past 4 games. Cool. 2 of them were special teams. 1 of them was a Hail Mary. So 3 turnovers in the past 4 games. 1 of them's been a strip sack. Cool. Whatever. But at the same time, it's not like it's just been an absolutely blow-up fest. It hasn't been pretty, but it also has showed flashes. And Alabama has found a way to win games against teams that are highly ranked, higher ranked than Auburn. Maybe at home. Okay. But just saying that Alabama's going to be a turnover-prone team in this game and that's going to destroy them in this game and Auburn's going to dominate by 2 possessions is outlandish. Do I think Auburn will have a chance to win this game? Yes. But
I've got a question. How would you compare Auburn's defense to Oklahoma's?
Oklahoma's defense is better.
I do think Oklahoma's defense is better, but how big a gap
Not
are you
by
going to
much,
say there?
but they are better.
Okay.
But Oklahoma's offense is better than Auburn's offense.
You think so?
I think so.
Right now?
And here's the reason why. I think Mateer's a better quarterback than Daniels. And his stat line was not impressive against Bama because it didn't have to be. You know what Mateer did against Bama? He managed the game to be able to keep them in a winning position. Mateer didn't have to throw for 400 to win the game because they created turnovers.
Because the defense was showing up, yeah. The defense was punching balls loose, and they got the 1 interception.
And the difference between that and said Auburn is the fact that Auburn's only done that 1 time this year, and it was against Vanderbilt, and they lost the game. They didn't win the game. They lost the game. Your offense showed up. Your defense did not, right? Mm-hmm. And then throughout the whole rest of the year, the defense for Auburn has shown up. The offense has not, and they've lost games like that. Well, Oklahoma found a way to have the defense show up and the offense do enough to continue to win. So that's why I think that Oklahoma has that upper edge over Auburn. I mean, they've already played head-to-head.
I wasn't
Auburn's
saying
defense
Oklahoma
is not
was better,
bad.
but it's just about where you put them at level-wise, because if they are similar, what you have to worry about is Auburn's ability to get to Ty Simpson, because Ty has shown flashes that he is extremely inaccurate with pressure on the rise.
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier in the podcast, is that Alabama's running backs in the blocking game is going to be a big deal. Identifying blitzes, picking them up, giving Ty Simpson time to throw, because that's where I feel like we've struggled a lot, is the running backs being able to pick up blitzes and actually stand their ground the past couple of weeks. So what is that going to look like for Alabama in this game? Because that's going to be a big factor in giving Ty Simpson time. DJ Durkin is going to draw up pressures, right? DJ Durkin is going to draw up pressures. He's going to try to get to Ty Simpson. But here's the thing. This isn't the first defensive coordinator to do this. Brent Venables did it all 2 weeks ago. He gave him everything he had off a bye week. And that's one of the best defenses in the country. And Alabama maintained. If Alabama doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, one of them, rightfully so. The other one could have been illegal touching, whatever. Ball falls that way sometimes. But the other one's the Ryan Williams hopped around, punt, fumble. You know, like, if you manage the ball better in that game, you win that game. That's you beat yourself in that game.
Comfortably. You win that game comfortably, mind you.
Yeah. You beat yourself in that game. You spotted Oklahoma field position. Of course, they were aggressive. You can't take away the fact that they got the strip sack on Ty. I agree with that. I do feel like the pick that was thrown was illegal touching, but it's football. It happens. It's football. I think Auburn offensively is going to have to show up in this game something serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if there's enough there for 4 quarters.
So the question that arises for me is you haven't had both sides play with each other the whole time. Like you've had them play in glimpses, like you saw against Georgia in the first half against Georgia. Both sides of the ball looked amazing. Like I'm talking about, no team is beating that first half team against Georgia.
Mm.
But then the stadium gets quiet. If you can have an Auburn team at home in the Iron Bowl, a night game in Jordan-Hare, you have that team play as a team for 4 straight quarters. I just don't see a world where Bama can win with as much talent that Auburn has if they can play together. And that's a big ask because they haven't done it for 11 games.
It's gonna be nonetheless. It's gonna be interesting in Jordan-Hare, right? It's gonna be.
I wanna
it's gonna be one.
pull this up real quick.
The
Just
fact
wanna,
yeah, I saw that too. I was trying not to
to acknowledge it.
about it. Yeah, and if Oklahoma could run the ball, yes. If Cam Newton was back, then Auburn won the national championship, right?
Oh no, definitely, most definitely, yeah.
So it's just kind of like if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. You ever heard
Come
that
on.
line?
Come on, Coach Phillips. Let me
You
know.
ever heard that line?
Let me know. Huntington legend, by the way.
You can't say your run D is good because did I say that our run defense was good? But I will say that Oklahoma ran the ball for 28 times and only had 78 yards. They only ran for 2.4 yards.
They have shown that they are an underperforming run offense, though, all
but
year.
also
John
they
Mateer has
improved the
been
past 3
90% of
games.
their yards.
But also they
been
improved the
showing
past 3 games.
progression, yeah. I'll give them
So
that. They have been showing progression.
Because if we want to go back to that week whenever we previewed that game, RJ said himself that Oklahoma's run game had been improving over the past couple of weeks.
Mhm.
And will the run game
would
show
do
up?
that.
Well, guess what? Their run game did not show up.
Yep. And a lot of that could be credited to Bama D tackles and winning in the trenches. I mean, that's like we said, who was going to – I think we all, me, you, RJ, and Chin all said that the game's going to get won at the line. And it did. The game, I mean, in theory, the game did get won at the line. The strip sack, creating enough pressure for Ty to be offline. And the 4th and, was it 13, where he threw it short? Oh, he didn't really throw it short. Ryan Williams could have caught it, but the corner made a great play on the ball.
Yeah.
But he had a guy chase him out of the pocket, and he had to make a decision and made the wrong decision.
Yeah. And another thing with the fact of Bama being bad against the run, I just said defense, did I not? I said Oklahoma's defense, 28 carries, 77 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. If I didn't, I meant Oklahoma's offense.
Which, I mean, you got to look at it too. Auburn's rush offense last week, outside of Deuce Knight, wasn't great. I mean, we had what, 48? No, we probably outside of the quarterbacks, because I'm not counting Jackson Arnold. He's a glorified Auburn player at this point. Your running backs had 50, 60 yards on the day against Mercer. I mean, I watched Jeremiah Cobb get stood up at the line about 3 or 4 times. And that's not what you want to see, considering that defense is nothing like the defense that they're going to walk into this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that Ashton Daniels has not seen a defense of this caliber yet in his career at Auburn. And I think that's going to be a big telltale sign probably later in the game. I do think Auburn will be in striking position in the 4th quarter, but not have enough. I think Alabama's run defense will show up. Oklahoma's defense will. I'm so confused on what he's trying to say. I will say this, though. Alabama's defense against the run, the defense against run has not been the issue in the fact of they give up, like they don't give up 10 yards per run like people think they do. They give up 3 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards. And then about that 10th rush, they'll give up 30. And that's where the problem comes, right? Because you look back whenever we played Missouri, they were like the highest rushing team against us.
They were the best SEC like rushing SEC team in the SEC. Honestly,
and they ran for 163, right? They ran
That's
for
low for them. That's low for them
against Bama, and 2 of those runs were a Bo Beulah run for 60 yards to start the game, and then the running back run in the second quarter. After that, Alabama fixed it, and since then they've been pretty good. I don't feel like the run defense has been the problem for Alabama while we've been in close games or been losing games. They were good against South Carolina. They were good against Vandy. They were good against Tennessee. They were good against South Carolina. Tennessee had 2 gash runs, but we won 37-20. We found a way to win. And the gash runs, were 40 yards and 30 yards at one point in the game. And our defense was able to get the tackle in bounds, right? And play hard-nosed defense in the red zone and make them kick field goals. And that's why Alabama was able to pull away the game. And Tennessee ran the ball 33 times, 142 yards, 4.3. That's not what you want to see, but I feel like that's kind of buffed due to breakaway runs that got stopped in the red zone. I feel like if Alabama can play good red zone defense and make Auburn kick field goals and not get in the end zone, that Alabama will eventually find the end zone and be able to score. I don't know if Auburn's red zone offense is good enough to play with Alabama in the red zone on defense. Alabama has been very good.
Auburn's red zone offense hasn't been super great all year, but Alabama's defense has been very great in the red zone. Most of the time when they're getting touchdowns scored on them, it's chunk plays or explosive plays that just break all the way to the house. That's with the words kicks getting said. How confident are you that if Bama can't get into the end zone early, that Connor Talty can put one through the uprights?
Not at all. And
so,
okay, you get
let's say 4th and 10 on the 35, right? Just go for it.
4th and 10 is crazy. On the 35, I'd probably kick the field goal, right?
But I'm just saying, you think Connor Talty's kicking a 50-yard field goal?
4th and 3 on the 35, I'm going for it. 4th and 4 on the 35, I'm going for it. 4th and 10, I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
Mm-hmm. I don't know about that. You got to get a chance. He hasn't been good, but don't throw away points without even trying to get them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you had 2 negatives in a row to be able to put you in a 4th and 10, don't continue to give Auburn momentum.
Oh yeah, because that's the biggest key though for Bama is to get the fans out of the game. It's because I will still stand and die on this hill that Auburn is the hardest place to play in the nation. A night game in Auburn at that is even harder. Because there's not many teams that can come into Jordan-Hare except for Kentucky that can really just show and make Auburn look stupid.
Yeah. I do not. We'll get on to our score predictions and we'll say kind of what we have in mind that will propel said team to a win. I think with Bama, right, I'm going to go ahead and give my score prediction and I'll give the reason why. I got Bama winning this game 27 to Auburn's 21. Here's the reason why. Is because I think Alabama later in the game will maybe not necessarily be able to score the ball well, but will be able to find a way to move the ball down the field and run time off the clock. I think Auburn's offense after the first half will kind of run out of juice. I think they'll start off strong. They started off strong in a lot of games all year in the first half. I think they'll run out of juice. I think they'll run out of plays. I think they'll run out of continuous, progression that you've seen Auburn do that in several games this year where they've played well in the first half, gotten kind of quiet in the second half, and then it becomes a Cam Coleman show. And I think Cam Coleman's going to make plays in this game, if you're Alabama, you got to know that the best player on the field is going to make plays at some point. But how can you limit those? How can you take Cam Coleman out of the game in certain plays and make other players make plays? Like Eric Singleton, he's got to be big for Auburn to be able to be in this game. And he hasn't really been amazing at all year, and not what was expected. He has been good, but he hasn't been what was expected of him. And that comes from offensive struggles. I think offensive struggles in this game in the second half will be Auburn's demise. I think Alabama's defense is one of the best defenses that they've seen, and I think that's what's going to push them ahead in this game. Ty Simpson, I think he will continue to not look perfect, but I do not think he'll do anything to necessarily hurt this game in any way. I think you will have a turnover for the Alabama offense at some point because Auburn just has too much off the edge think you will see another strip sack, and you'll have, all the, oh my goodness, Ty Simpson can't take care of the ball, strip sack, whatever. You'll have that narrative continue to progress. And while I don't think it's a false narrative. Anyways, I got Alabama winning 27-21.
Okay. Well, 15 years ago, a certain quarterback went into Tuscaloosa and led what is now known as the comeback. Okay? You know what the score to that game was? It was 28-27 Auburn. And that's the score I'm taking, okay? Mainly because I think kicking will end up showing that it is an issue for Alabama. And not to say he'll miss an extra point, but it will get to a point to where he'll make one or two field goals and miss a field goal or two. And I think Auburn's defense will finally find their legs under their new interim head coach. I think DJ Durkin will finally get the defense back on their feet and get them moving again. And I think the offense will show glimpses of being great, but I still think there will be some struggles offensively. Biggest issue for me is you have to get Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons involved and started up, because when those two are playing confident, Cam Coleman doesn't have to get started up. He's always on. He has not had a night where he's just been he doesn't catch the ball. So I think with that being said, Auburn will keep them honest on the ground and in the air. Bama will show great glimpses, but Ty Simpson will end up coughing the ball up and giving Auburn great field position off of it. And that's mainly why I have Auburn at 28-27. I think Ty throws for about two of them, two tutties, a pick, and a fumble is what I think I've got Ty looking like right now.
I had no doubt in my mind think Auburn can win this game. And I think there is a possibility. I'm not saying that. I'm never will I say that Alabama will just go in and dominate. While I do hope that happens, I will never say that because I don't want to be clipped. But the main reason is because no doubt, because there is the Iron Bowl effect. There is the Jordan Hare Stadium. There is dark magic that goes on up under those bleachers.
That doo-doo voodoo, you better look out, buddy.
No doubt. And they're the best 6-loss team in the country. We haven't taken that into account.
They'll continue to be that until they lose again. Then they'll be the best 7-loss team in the country.
Tim Cheese released that ranking earlier today.
Tim Cheese has been on it this year, man.
No doubt.
He's really taught me some stuff. I low-key, studied his notes for the Oklahoma-Bama game, and it obviously paid off.
Yeah.
For me.
No doubt about that. I like Talty. He's got
Wabi Sabi.
Other than that, we'll move on off the Iron Bowl. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to be there. It's going to be I have a feeling it's going to be one of the better ones we've seen, and we've seen some really good games in the past couple of years for the Iron Bowl.
Can I call it a crazy scenario right now?
What's up?
So, Bama's down by 1, going to kick a field goal as the time expires. It gets blocked off an actual bad snap that the holder couldn't get down in time. And Talty's finally able to holler or yell at the
Talty crashes out. Oh my gosh. We'll
get to see a Talty crash out. Field gets stormed and he's just beating the snapper up. Oh God.
We got 2 more games and we'll just hop into them, give our score predictions, give the reason why real quick. Georgia Tech. Number 16, Georgia Tech takes on number 4, Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, on Friday at 2:30 p.m., which is going to be a fun one to watch. I got Georgia win this game. It's a 10-point spread.
It's 13.5 right now.
Is that 13.5 now?
Yeah, it said at 13.5.
Oh, Lord. I don't have Georgia covering. I have Georgia winning about 10 or so. But I don't have Georgia covering. I think Georgia became one of the most well-rounded teams in the country. They continue to improve. Their offense continue to improve. So I think that's what pushes them past Georgia Tech. I think Haynes King has been really good. He had kind of an off week this last week. But I think Georgia's defense is going to show up in this game. I think Georgia will take this one and continue to see their playoff hopes.
I agree with you. I see Georgia winning this game. Haynes King is their complete offense, by the way. Not sure if you watched the Georgia Tech Pitt game. He was their leading rusher as well as their leading passer. He had 75 rushing yards or something like that. But I don't see Georgia covering, and I don't see them covering the total either. The total set at 59.5. I've got them sitting Oh God.
Did you see the Auburn losing
What?
by 30 to Michigan?
What is this? What?
Yeah, Michigan 55, Auburn 28 right now.
Oh no! I didn't know that. Oh God, I didn't
At the
realize
end,
that was
about to
on.
be at the end of the half. Rough
Oh,
night.
they're good. It's the comeback all over again.
Okay.
But no, Georgia doesn't cover. They don't cover the total, and Georgia wins by about 15. No, they win by about 12. They don't cover.
What's your? I got Georgia winning 38-21. I think Georgia's offense could show up in this game. I think Gunnar Stockton's going to solidify his reasoning for being the top 5 in the Heisman.
I've got them 21-10. And the reason I have that is Haynes King will get a look in touchdown in trash time, but that's about it, dude. Georgia's defense is so good.
Yeah. Georgia looks to continue to move forward into their playoff hopes. We'll move on to Vanderbilt, Tennessee, which is going to be an interesting one. Diego Pavia. I've seen Diego Pavia as high as 2 on some Heisman polls. I've seen Diego Pavia 3, 4, 5. He's all over the board in the Heisman. He's playing well. He's cocky. He's good. He's all the above, right? His mom's dating Theo Vaughn, supposedly. Who knows? That's none of my business. They go to Knoxville to play the best 3-loss team in the country in Tennessee. Joey Aguilar, we know what he does. He throws the ball like crazy. He throws it to the defense every now and then, but he throws the ball nonetheless. Is Vandy's defense going to be good enough to stop Tennessee? And is Vandy's offense going to be good enough to score with Tennessee in this game? Is Pavia going to be good enough? What is this game for you, Port? What are you thinking? And what's your score prediction?
So Vandy could barely keep up with Auburn throwing the ball and keep up with their pass attack. I think Tennessee is going to throw for about 500 yards on Vandy's defense. And I think Tennessee will end up scoring somewhere in the 40s, maybe even approach that 50 mark. But the thing I worry about Vandy is Pavia trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Because it was like the start of the Texas game. You know, they kind of just got clipped. They kind of got clipped early in the game, and Pavia was trying to do too much. And now he came back. They still lost that Texas game, right? I'm not misthinking about that game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they came back and didn't win it, but still everybody's like, "Oh, he came back against Texas." I don't care about all that.
I don't want to hear all that.
Nah, loss.
What you got?
So score prediction wise, I think it's
Yep.
49-17 Tennessee. They cover by a million.
Lord.
Yeah.
49-17.
Yeah.
I thought mine was fixing to be crazy. 49-17.
Nah, you saw what they did in the swamps. First time they've won there in like 20 years. Dogged them out.
49-17.
49-17. Rivalry week. Vandy is not like that. They're in Knoxville. Come on. It is going to be Rocky Top. It's going to be singing out there.
I thought mine was going to be crazy, right? But I'm going to go ahead and say Josh Heupel ends out the year on a good one. He's going to go to a good bowl game. Tennessee ends up 9-3. They beat Vandy at home 41-31. And here's the reason why. I think Tennessee's offense is very high-powered. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think they're going to be able to score at will, right? Nonetheless. Star Thomas, I think Joey Aguilar, I think Chris Basil. They're all great. Vandy, I don't know if the consistency is there for me to be able to say that they can score with Tennessee. And I don't think their defense is good enough to get stops as much as they're going to need them necessarily. Tennessee's defense has not been extremely impressive, don't get me wrong, but they are going to have the capability to be able to get Vandy in some bad positions. And this crowd for Tennessee is going to be the biggest factor in this game with what they have coming in this game, right? Vandy, they got Diego Pavia. They're talking trash, 14th ranked country. Tennessee has not been as impressive as what they were hoping to be, right? We all kind of knew that they weren't going to be maybe amazing this year because of the fact that they were having to rebuild that roster a little bit after last year. But Tennessee fans are going to be looking to kind of ruin somebody's hopes. And I think this is going to be the week. I think Pavia is going to walk into Knoxville, kind of get punched in the mouth. Still play a good game. Not saying the kid's bad at all. He's a great player. But not going to have enough around him necessarily to be able to go into Knoxville and win this game. That's why I got Tennessee 41-31. My Lord.
Hey, 49-17. Mark your calendars, buddy.
49-17. My Lord, Port.
Hey, if that comes into fruition, it's going to look crazy is all I'm going to say.
So, let me tell you something, Port.
Uh-oh.
So, whenever we go to, or whenever I go to Auburn this weekend,
Here we go. Bro's bringing out props.
Whenever I go to Auburn this weekend, bro, you know what I'm gonna have on.
No,
I'm gonna have
put
these
the
on.
overalls down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have these on right here, right? And you know what happens when I have these on for? Just guess. Just guess.
Are we doing this right now? Is this what
Straight
we're doing?
B2A. I think Bama's gonna get it done this weekend, buddy. And
Hey.
we're gonna end the podcast on that. I just want to end the podcast on some rage bait.
Hey, same thing with DeBoer's black hoodie. You better hope he don't pull up in that thing. They're gonna drop it. They're gonna drop the game. It's over with.
Alrighty. But this has been a fun one. I figured this Iron Bowl week was gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of hostility in the group chat coming into this weekend. I think there's gonna be a lot of talk. It's always fun when the Iron Bowl comes around.
One in like the players, I think we're gonna see a fight, hopefully. And I've got my money on Auburn. I'm just gonna tell you.
Well, the thing is
different.
Bama has everything to lose, and Auburn has absolutely nothing. That's what makes this one so fun to watch.
Mhm.
And Durkin's trying to fight for that coaching spot, right? He's trying to fight to get the head coaching job. So he's going to throw everything he can out there. Don't ignore me when I call you after the game. Hey, RJ.
Uh-oh.
Hey, RJ. Hey, RJ.
Oh no, that's got to be a crime, dog.
Nonetheless, Bama's going to take down Auburn and Jordan Hare this weekend. RJ, I'm going to show up at his house Sunday morning with an Alabama flag and put it on the back of his truck and make him drive around with it all week.
You gotta just stab it into the middle of his driveway.
Just
plant the flag.
Plant the flag.
Plant the flag.
Trees will be poisoned Sunday. Oh my Lord.
Dude, this would be the year that it happened again. I'm telling you, this would be the year because RJ said he's going to put the Ashton Daniels jersey on Saban. Not even the Bear at this point.
Here's the thing. After Alabama wins this game, Cam Coleman's going to transfer to Bama next year.
No.
And he's going to be top 5 in the Heisman next year. And that's where we can end the podcast on because, that's kind of what happens. Thank you for stopping back by the R&D podcast. Luckily, we're not joined by RJ today. Otherwise, I would have been rage baited for the whole hour and would not have gotten off this podcast in an hour. This has been a fun one.
Bait.
Iron Bowl week. Appreciate Port for joining us. It was a pleasure, Port.
Ain't no problem. You know how it goes. War Eagle and Roll Tide down the toilet bowl.